Hello, my friends. Well, it's time to embellish this pour with a flamenco dancer. I don't know that I can do this on video. It does take a while, but maybe I can do a start-stop kind of thing. I'll start it anyway and see if I can continue. So I began by looking at a bunch of reference photos, coming up with different poses. I drew various poses. This is the one I ended up liking the best, and so I worked on it a bit till I was satisfied with it, and I came up with a tracing and transferred it onto my canvas using graphite paper. Now I'm using a kneaded eraser, and I want to make those lines as faint as possible. I need to see them, but I don't want them interfering at all. I just want a guide, so I'm kneading the eraser. Is a wonderful eraser for this type of thing. You have to keep stretching it to give it a fresh spot, but just lifting off some of the excess. You just want a guide. Doesn't matter quite so much on the dark part down here, but certainly in the white I want just faint guidelines. Okay, that's step 1, 2, and 3. Let me pause. I'm going to mix up some paint and begin painting. Okay, I'm back. I've mixed up 3 tones, 3 skin tones, 3 values, using white, warm red, yellow, and a bit of burnt sienna to come up with this kind of dark tone. Then I took some of that, put it down here, added white, and then I just added more white to, after I mixed that with my palette knife, I just grabbed some more white, and with what was on the palette knife and more white, came up with this lightest shade. So when you're doing something representational like this, it's not realism necessarily. 3 shades is sufficient, although you can mix more shades by combine. If I brush mixed these two, I'd have a 4th shade. If I brush mixed these, I'd have a 5th shade. So you could do some of that. If I determine this isn't dark enough, I can always add a little more burnt sienna to the mix. So okay, let's begin. If you want it, more than just a flat cartoon shape, you need to mix values. So it's somewhere between cartoon and realism. I guess representational is a good term. So I like to start with the skin tones, because if you don't get that right, what's the point of doing the rest? So I'm going to begin with the medium. Is this in the camera? Yes. And I'm going to just kind of start that. I'm working in acrylics. They dry quickly, so you're going to move a little fast with that. And that's actually a little dark. Maybe that should be my dark. So what I'm going to do is take some of this, put it down here, add more light. And now these are going to be my 3 tones. That I will reserve. That'll be my dark, what I just put down there. This will be my medium, and this is my light, maybe even lighter. What looks good on here may not look good on the canvas. You have to be flexible and test. So the nice thing is, since it is acrylic, it will dry quickly, and I can paint right over that. So let's move to another part of her. So now this is my medium tone. And let's go in here and do her chest area. So I'm just going to block that in. And while that's still wet, I will go into my darker tone, side load. So I still have some of the medium on my brush, and I've side loaded into the darker one, and I'll just kind of go under her chin. Kind of shaping her face a little bit. And back here, this is going to be hair, so that's not too critical. There would be a bit of a shadow there, though, so let's kind of darken that. Maybe we'll give her a little cleavage, huh? It's going to go right around here. Just a hint of that. Okay. And there. I'm sorry, I've never done this much on this type of embellishment on video, so you'll have to bear with me as I think through it. I mean, it's not something I just can teach, I don't think. All right, let's give her a little bit of the lightest color. And maybe over here. Lighten that up, and a little bit on her boob there. Make it look more rounded. And maybe, where's the light coming from? That's what you got to think of. I think it's coming from over this way. So that's why the shadow's over there. Maybe we'll lighten up this back too. All right, let's move on to her face. Wiping off my brush. You know, I'm going to save the face for last. That's going to be the trickiest. So let's go back to this. That's dry now. So I'm going to go to what is now my medium tone and go over that. And add a bit of the darker shade on either side of her arm. Blend, kind of walking it in, blending it in. And might be a little darker right here where it meets the dress. Okay, now to make it appear more rounded, we're going to add a little bit of the lightest right down, not the middle, but a little off center there. Just tap in a little highlight color. I don't know if you can see that. This is much easier in oils, I tell you. All right, I don't know if you can see that gave it a little bit of roundness. All right, moving on to her hand. Hands are difficult, very difficult. But again, we're just kind of representing them here. And see, I should have made the guidelines even lighter, because I can still see it, but yeah, that's okay. I can always come back and correct with white, you know, around it to reshape those fingers. This brush is not quite the right size. I don't know why I'm making this more difficult for myself than it needs to be. Yeah, that's crazy. What am I doing? Stop for a moment and change brushes. Going into the dark. And I'm shade around it a bit. I'm going to go into the very darkest that I made up, that I didn't think I was going to use, and separate those fingers there. Hopefully. Not separate them. Whoops, I went into the wrong one. Not separate them, but put a kind of a line there so it doesn't look like two big old fingers. Kind of put in the, I don't know anatomically what you'd call that, this part. All right, that's not very good. I'm going into my white. I can't stand to look at the mess I made there with my pointy brush. And I'm going to reshape this finger here. I'm getting too hung up on this. You know how this part of the hand is fat, so that's got to have a little highlight there. And I think I need to reshape that thumb too. And I need to stop worrying about it. Shade this side of the hand a little more down here. Blend that in. Change that shape there. Something's wrong here. I should probably stop. I should probably stop. It's not perfect, but if I wasn't on video, I would be taking my time a little more. I'm trying to go fast, and you really can't rush something like this. Okay, you know, I'm going to call that good enough. I might come back. I'm not happy with that line there. Just lighten it a little bit. Okay. I may come back, but I'm going to call that good for now. Let's move down to this hand. Since I did such a great job on that one. Not. Okay. Maybe I don't need to do two hands on camera. But here I go. Starting with the medium tone. Kind of blocking in the shape. And again, I'm using the wrong brush. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do this one off camera. I have to remove that. It's terrible. I'll be back. Oh my gosh. That was impossible. I had so much trouble with this hand. I painted, repainted, reshaped. Oh my gosh, I had to mix up a color that looked kind of like the background and go around it. I'm still not happy with it, but I have got to move on. So I may return to it, but hopefully when the rest of it's painted, it won't go to the mistakes like that. It'll go be distracted by other things happening in the painting. So anyway, now to the face. I'm going to begin by using my liner brush and just marking out where the features are so I don't lose them. Her eyes are, she's looking down, so that's makes it easy. Come on. I'll make it real soupy. Should use a really good brush for this, and I don't know that this is the best one for this. I'm holding my breath. Eyes and eyebrow. These are just guidelines. I'm going to come back but this way I don't lose where they were. And just kind of an indication where the mouth goes. Okay. It took so long in the hand, my paint's drying up, so I hope I have enough of these tones I've already mixed to do the face. That would be a real drag. But, you know, live and learn. Okay, now I'm going to go with the medium tone and start blocking in her face. Water. Oops, that's the dark. It's the medium. This is pretty watered down, so I can go kind of over those guidelines. If you see me tapping, what I noticed, I dipped my brush into the water, and then I had a little bead of water on the ferrule here, and that's not good. Really need to get in the habit of, and I'm still not in the habit, of wiping off the brush, the ferrule too, before you go here, because if a drop of water went on that, oh my gosh, that'd be terrible. So, do as I say, not as I do. Okay, that's kind of her face. Now it's going to be a little lighter on her forehead. And that's not lighter at all. My paints really are drying up. This is not good. Let's see if that's lighter. A bit. Wait, it's okay. And right down her nose. Needs to be lighter. That's not lighter at all. I need to go in I think my paint is so dry that I think I'm going into the puddle of paint and there's nothing there. So I went right into the white because I have a little color on my brush. And do that. Cheeks and all shading. Can you see what I'm doing? I wonder if I ought to. Hopefully you can. Well, I'll bring the camera down a little bit closer. And now I'm going to put a little bit of shading around her hairline. Kind of pat blend. If you work fast enough, you can pat the colors together. A little bit of cheek line there. Cheekbone. Putting some shading underneath. Around, and of course her chin is would be light. I need some more light on my scrape up a little bit of that I have here, the medium tone, add some white to it, and hope I can complete this before it dries up. This is my lightest, and I'm giving her a little highlight on her chin to make it stand out from her neck. A little more on her nose. Forehead. Kind of pat blending it together. Okay, now let's go back to her features. So wiping off the ferrule. Let's begin with her eyes. I forgot to put any black out on my palette. Black. We want her eyes to stand out, and I'm debating. I'm not sure what color to make her dress. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna have to turn off the camera and give that some thought. Pick up one of these colors, I don't think. Maybe black. I don't know. I have to give that some thought. So anyway, let's go back to her eyes, and they're just really a suggestion of eyelashes. It's a little thicker. It's just really a line. And here. Thicker on the outside edge there. And that's all I'm doing for her eyelashes. Or, yeah, for her eyes. Now I'm mixing a little burnt sienna and black to get a dark color for her eyebrows. I don't want black eyebrows. And I'm just going to suggest those. Okay, and now I may just leave her nose as is. Let's do her lips and see what how her nose looks. Going into my bright red. Well, maybe red and a little bit of burnt sienna. Really, it's just a suggestion. Now a little bit thicker for the bottom, maybe a little brighter. Top lip is always darker. You can't really tell the difference there. All right, no, I'm not, you know, it's so hard to say at this point because there's no hair, there's no dress. She's just floating in space. It's hard to tell how it looks. I think she needs more cheekbone definition. I'm going to go into my dark skin tone and kind of try to define those cheeks a bit. Now I'm going into the light because I messed that up. Oh my goodness, I didn't clean my brush. I don't want to reshape her face too much. Okay, that's no good. That one's better than that one. So I've got to clean out my brush. And what am I doing? I'm going into the light. And fix that. Why does it look gray to me? Oh, brother. I must have had, I don't think I cleaned my brush very good. Isn't this fun, watching me mess up? Oh, maybe it just looks gray to me up close here. It did help her cheekbones, I think. Okay, now I'm gonna do a tiny, tiny, tiny thing to her nose. Wipe that water off the ferrule. Okay, and I don't really want to outline her nose, but I have to do a little something here. Just on one side. And I'm going to take some white. And on the tip of her nose, I'm going to give her a little white to bring it forward. Oh, folks, I don't think I can continue this. I'm just struggling. It's a lot of pressure to be on video. Yeah, I'm going to stop and show you the final product later. I just can't keep going. I reached a half hour, and if you've stuck with me this long, I thank you for your patience, and I'll see you later. Bye now. Okay, folks, well, after I turned off the camera, I kept working on it, of course. I wasn't happy with it, so I think it's a little bit of an improvement. Let me explain what I did. I just kept adding more color to her face and deepened the shadow a bit beneath her chin, widened her face. I had it much too narrow here, so I added more over here, reshaped this eye, lowered it, Added a drop of highlight on her lower lip. Lightened her nose a little bit, her chin. I just kept playing with it until I was happier. And that's what you have to do. Now, part of my problem, I realize, is this is, even though this is a level 3 canvas, you know, it's the good one, it's still a very bumpy surface, and so it's hard to get a nice crisp line on it. That's why I think I struggled so much with the fingers, because even though I draw a nice line, it would be kind of bumpy. So anyway, that's just, I have to get away from my expectation to try to do realism. It's representational, and I have to be happy with getting something that, you know, looks okay as a whole. I can't get so hung up on being perfect about all the little details. So I am going to continue with this video. I'm going to do several parts. So this will be part 2. Part 1 is a pour, part 2 is a skin, and we'll be moving on to part 3 will be the dress, and part 4 will be the hair and any additional touch-ups. So if you want to stick with me, subscribe so you'll know when I get around to it, if you're not already. And I thank you, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.